What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. Okay, so I wanted to do a reaction to this video, this interview that Nick Cannon did with, I'm not sure who this young lady is, but either way, she did an interview with him. And one of the things that she did ask about, of course, was relationships and his love life, and y'all know he's got a tribe of children. And I've done one of my videos I did with PSA Time with Lady Auntie, kind of spoke about not having kids that you can't afford. And when I say you can't afford, that also means that you can't really invest time and energy into that you properly need to do as a parent. There is a grave difference, a huge difference between procreating and parenting. Those are not the same. Just because you can procreate does not mean that you can parent. And I'm just going to be honest. I am not perfect. I don't think any parent is perfect. There's no perfect way of raising kids. There's no perfect path to being, a good parent. However, understand that as a parent, you have to invest time and energy into your children. You cannot just go out and make a bunch of babies and think that it's okay to not even be willing to commit time and energy into these kids, into their lives. These children aren't, first of all, they're not stupid. Second of all, they're not Barbie dolls and puppies. They're human beings. And we have the ability to shape and mold their lives and the influence that they have in their life from, an infant all the way up to an adult. When they get old enough to leave the house and go out and become independent and responsible and on their own, our influence on them as their parents, plays a heavy role in their foundation. And it's our responsibility to be there for them. I don't know about Nick Cannon's, parents, but I could have sworn I saw where he had both a mom and a dad, and it's like, maybe not. But I could have read where his parents were married. So he grew up in a home with both parents there consistently. Now, just to clear all the technicalities, because people like to get really nitpicky. There are people out there whose jobs and careers, their professions may not allow them to be home every day with their kids. I'm not talking about that. People who are in the military, or, people who are doctors and they on, 12-hour shifts, and they sometimes doing 2 and 3 shifts back to back. Those types of circumstances and situations where you're working, your profession and your career, demands that type of time. Your law enforcement or whatever, you're gone 12 hours at a time. That's different. Nick Cannon is in a position financially where he doesn't really have to work that hard at this point in his life. He's over 40 years old. And it's not like he was, born broke. His parents actually had some money. They were pretty comfortable financially. So he didn't even grow up experiencing any hardships or poverty like that. So he certainly had, an advantage in his childhood. And then, of course, with the money that he's been able to make and earn, for at least the past 20 years of his life, he's at a point where he can be comfortable and he can financially afford these kids. However, he has 6 baby mamas, one of which is his ex-wife. And it's like, why are you having, and it's not even just having these kids like this because you were in relationships with them, solid, real relationships with them. It's, you're having kids with 2 and 3 different women at the same time. I mean, some of these kids are born of 2 different moms and they're days apart. So I had to, expand on this because it gets to a point where you see kids growing up with a whole lot of issues and a whole lot of things going on. And sometimes we don't try to think about the root of the problem, especially with our younger generation and what they may be missing out on or lacking. And it could be simple things that we can start to resolve by at least giving our children the opportunity to have both parents in their lives, if all possible, and to give them the best that they deserve, not to perpetuate cycles of poverty or cycles of just going around and procreating all over the place, having a whole bunch of kids, with a whole bunch of women, and you can't even commit the time and attention to these kids that they deserve. So I wanted to react to this interview. I did sample a little of the video, and from what I heard, it was just like, oh God, come on, dude. I think he knows better. I ain't even gonna make any excuses for him. I'm not gonna make any excuses for him. But he's definitely going through a midlife crisis. So, but let's check this out. I'm gonna pause it as I go, because I don't want this to get blocked or anything. And just, this is the U.S. We have the right to free speech, and I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with me. But at some point we have to start being realistic with ourselves when it comes to us and the influence that we have on the younger generation, especially our children. We got to do better. We have to start being honest and real with ourselves. So let's get to it.
From his previous marriage to superstar Mariah Carey to his many high-profile relationships, Nick is no stranger to having his love life out there for the world to see. And as a man with 12 children and very fluid views on love and relationships, Nick is sharing his ever-evolving experiences with romance.
So, I want to kind of change gears a little bit and talk about dating. Because when you do think about
clearly
you're not dating?
I thought you said thought you want some advice. I'm like,
no one asked you for the advice. No one had asked you for advice.
Well, you've been in a lot of high profile relationships, right? And
right.
You've just been in a lot of relationships.
Do you feel as though you've been successful in love?
No.
It depends on how you define.
Okay, let me just say this. He may have been in love, but I think he seems to come off as if he's a little traumatized. And because you have someone like him who has, like she said, been this high profile, actor and entertainer, and, has amassed the fame that he has, as well as the fortune. Sometimes you get to that point where he probably have women throwing themselves at him, but you start to overlook the simple things. You start to overlook the small things in life that matter the most. And because you start going out and he's just dating anyone all willy-nilly, and that's pretty much it. And he's probably had that, opportunity to date these women and any woman he wanted for over 20 years. But the problem comes in when you have a lack of self-control and discipline. When you never learn to be faithfully committed to anything or anyone, it's hard to do that when you start having more and more options available to you. So the more women that throw themselves at him because of his money, you know, the less he feels inclined to really hone in and be more committed and faithful to one individual. It's almost like at some point, when is he going to say, you know, I've been there and I've done that and tired of it. I mean, all this sleeping around and raw dogging it, that's exactly what he's doing. Like I said, it's time to be honest. He's raw dogging it with a bunch of women, making a bunch of babies. But he forgets that AIDS is still a thing. STDs is still an issue. And then, of course, what are you showing your kids? There's no way he could possibly be with all of his children on a regular, consistent basis. There's no way. Because he can't even commit to one woman on a regular, consistent basis. Outside of him being married to Mariah Carey. And then, it's not even, I don't think that people should be surprised with him having cheated on Mariah Carey. Like, I believe he did, because he obviously, he's basically shown who he really is once he got divorced. I mean, he just went full blown, you know, let me just go all the way there, and he's on steroids with it. It's just kind of like sleep around on steroids times 1,000. But that is who he really was, and that was his character all along. He just suppressed it as opposed to looked at it from a different angle to say, okay, I can sleep with any woman I want. That's not, you know, he could say that to himself. I can sleep with any woman I want. But is it still going to give me what I need at the end of the day? Other than another baby and possibly setting myself up for a venereal disease, what is this going to give me at the end of the day? You know, when you're, think about this, when you're in your old age and, you know, you get into a point where you're 80 something years old and you feel your life being fulfilled and you transition on, who's going to be there by your side? You know, you're going to push yourself into loneliness because you can keep company, but you can't do anything beyond that. That is all you can do. And this is what he's not understanding. It's easy to go sleep with somebody, but this is all you can do. You don't want to dig deeper and to go beyond that point. Oh, and make a baby. I mean, good Lord. All right.
Success. You know, I mean, I operate at a 528 hertz at all times. Like, it's just the frequency of love is in me. Like, I'm a lover. You know what I mean?
No, that's just horny.
You know, it don't even say hopeless romantic. It says fearless romantic.
No, it's just
like, I love love.
Fearless horny man.
In a day. And I'm like, you about to change.
But that's the problem is it's not love, it's lust. This isn't love, Nick Cannon. This is lust, young man. You're a fearless luster. Not a fearless lover, you're a fearless luster. You lust. You're not committing to anything or anyone. You're not even allowing yourself to feel. So for you to say that you love and you can't commit or be faithful to something or dedicate consistent time to something without distraction, just because you've been married before doesn't mean that you understood what it meant to be faithful and committed. That's totally different. It doesn't matter if you're married, if all you're doing is still sleeping around with other women behind your wife's back. What difference does it make? You'll be real and raw here. You're not a lover, you're a luster. You're just lusting. You see somebody that's pretty and attractive, you probably barely know her, and you know, get in the bed, you raw dog it, and you get somebody pregnant and leave a baby behind. And for what? What are you having all these kids for? You can't see them all. You can't spend time with all of them. It's ridiculous. Man, come on.
Everything.
Like, what makes you like fall so hard? Like, what do you think?
He doesn't fall.
Romance novels and listen to old school 80s
No.
R&B. Like I'm that guy. I
Yeah.
think I fall, and through therapy and stuff, I realized that I'm in love with love, and once
You're not in love. You
with
you gotta understand the concepts of faithfulness and commitment to understand love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love takes time. So if you don't really devote time and you don't put in the energy and display patience to one thing, how can you say that you love it? It doesn't make sense. He's in love with himself, and he's in love with his needs being met and him getting what he wants, but we can all be easily blinded by that. Just because it's always been so accessible and easy for him, he's never had to work for it. He's never had to work. He's never really had to put in the work, the time, the patience it takes to develop a love bond with someone other than himself. And maybe 2 or 3 of his kids. Probably the twins that he had with Mariah Carey, but I just, he probably loves his children, but he doesn't really know them either. He has kids that are days apart across the country. You can't parent through a cell phone. The Zoom calls and stuff like that is not a way to develop a bond with your kids. When these babies are born, let me tell you all something. When these babies come out the womb, they don't understand child support or my daddy is rich. They don't understand those concepts. When they're born, they understand human to human contact. That is how they develop a bond. They know who their mommy is. They develop a bond with their father by being with a human contact with their father. Babies don't understand finances. They don't understand, you being an entertainer. They don't understand any of that. All they know is there's someone here to feed me and change me and hold me and hug me and love me when I need it. And then I take a nap. That's all the babies understand. So if you're not there developing that bond with them, how are you really even getting to know your own kids? It's ridiculous. Love is patient. Love takes time. You have to put time. You have to sacrifice as a parent the time and energy that's needed to be there for your kids, to be supportive of them, to raise them, to teach them. You have to actually physically be there. Paying child support does not necessarily make you a good parent. It makes you responsible. But so does paying your mortgage. So does paying your light bill or your car insurance. Paying a bill on time makes you responsible. But children are human beings, and they deserve more than just one of the 2 parents that's only just seeing them as a bill that they have to pay every month in the form of child support. It's ridiculous.
And not the process and the fun and that. So, I've learned over the time, but I had clearly, I'm a romantic.
So would you say that's why monogamy is difficult
just like
for
sleeping
you?
around.
Yeah, I think. I have various takes on it. I always feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I read too many books.
No, he just said it.
I'm trying to figure
He
it
just
out.
said it.
But
He just said it. He has a problem with monogamy. Period. Yeah. He just literally told the truth. He is incapable of being in a monogamous relationship. And I don't even care about that. I care about all these kids you keep procreating and making, and knowing that you cannot spend time with them and be with those kids, more often than you then you are going to be able to, the time that you're going to be able to give them, you're not going to be able to really divest time into your kids like that equally. You're not going to be able to do it. Why do you need to plant your seed all over the world if you're not going to really invest the time and energy into raising these kids properly? Not paying for them, but parenting them.
But I think just some of the origins of it feel like ownership, and anything that kind of feels that way for me feels a little. I don't want to have. I want you to be free. I want you to be able to move how you want to move. I don't want to put any class or restraints on you, or I say to define you is to confine you. So
what?
In that sense,
dude, you're not being deep at all. So you mean to tell me that these women that you had these kids with, the 5 baby mamas, not counting Mariah, the 5 baby mamas that he keeps going back and forth making babies with? Because some of these women he have multiple kids with. And I'm not talking about like twins. I'm talking about more than one pregnancy. Where he's had 2 and 3 kids with a couple of these women, and the babies were born around the same time. So you're going back and forth with these women and making babies with them. The expectation is there's no way they can have a boyfriend, because a real man is not going to let you come back and keep putting babies in their girlfriends. So there's no way they're able to have a relationship on their own with other men and actually move forward in a real relationship. There's no way that they're able to do that, because they keep getting pregnant by you. They wouldn't even be studying you if they could find another good man that actually wants to be there in their life, dedicated to them, and to the kids. Because I mean, if you dating as a parent, you pretty much, you come as a package deal. You don't, anyone that dates you understands that they're dating you and have to be accepting of your children. At least that's how I would hope. Good parents do. They think about that. If you're single and you're a parent, you're dating, the person you're dating should be accepting of you and your children, because you can't separate the two. So hopefully you're being a good parent and you're just not neglecting your kids for some dumbass man. I'm just saying. But he's not giving these women the opportunity to go out and be free and not be confined to him. No, some men have that mentality. If they have a baby with you, they're always gonna feel that entitlement to you, especially sexually. They're gonna feel like they can always come back and sleep with you because y'all got kids together. So he's not giving these women the freedom like that. No, hell no. He's not doing that, because he keeps going back to them. And these little chicken heads keep taking them back. So
you love me,
You don't want someone to grow old with?
No, he just These kids are not going to want to grow old with him. They're not going to stun them.
I'm trying to figure out how.
Like, we barely know you, dude.
But that's the thing. Like, I think I always ask people this question too, Timmy. You think about it, like, what if somebody told you were only allowed to have one friend for the rest of your life? Right?
Would you die from that?
Because always.
No. Would that kill you? Well, who is this? The girl doing the interview. Honey, I would have stopped. I would have said flat out. Let me stop you right there. There are a lot of people on earth, and when you define friend, you're talking about someone that you know and you trust. There are a lot of people that only have 1 or 2 close or best friends that are in their inner circle. Most people understand the concept of using wisdom when you have people in your life and pull people into your inner circle. Everybody's not meant to be your friend. We teach our kids that as parents as well. We teach our children as parents. Every kid you meet is not meant to be your friend. You have to understand the difference between a true friend versus a classmate or an associate. There's a big difference. I literally went years and only had one best friend. And I'm talking about one best friend that I was truly close to. A lot of people don't have 20 different best friends. You only have a handful of best friends, people in your life that are close to you, that are in your inner circle, that know a whole lot about you, that you can rely on and depend on. Most people only have a handful of friends like that. So you can have a bunch of associates, but that's not what he's asking. He's not asking how many associates can you have in your life. He said if you only have one friend. And yes, I'm being technical, but because there's a difference between friend and associate. Someone says you can only have one good, true friend. Okay. I don't think most of us are not going to lose sleep. I mean, we only have 1, 2, maybe 3 good, close friends anyway. The average person. I don't know anyone that's got 6 best friends. I don't know anyone that got close to that many people like that. And as far as letting people into your life and into your inner circle, and someone that you can rely and trust and depend on, the average person only has 2 or 3 people like that anyway, that are true, genuine friends. So, big deal. Big whoop. That's not even a question that requires deep thought. It's not even a deep thought-provoking question.
So are we talking about intimacy? Because at some point, all this stuff stop working. Like, you're going to need somebody that you can rock with as a friend forever. Right. And that's the thing. But, like, we all have multiple. I still got friends from kindergarten.
Yeah, but are you still sleeping with them and making babies with them? I mean, what?
Intimacy and sexuality on top of it. And all of a sudden, we got all of these rules and
But that's exactly what you're doing.
Who says? Like, I want to be
You're
able
having
to
sex with all these women.
Some...
Okay, so which baby mama is just the best friend, and which ones are the ones you just intimate with? Because you're blending them all. You got 6 best friends, you got 5 best friends, and they're your baby mamas. Seriously? I don't even think it's, hopefully these women, I don't know. Because I'm just, my conclusion is that these women don't have a brain. Or at least they're not even using the brain that God gave a chicken. It's just thoughtless for them. They're all okay with sleeping with this one man and having his baby. And they have to know that he has other baby mamas having babies, his babies, days apart from them. I mean, they know that. So they're choosing to all basically be okay and content and settle for Nick Cannon pumping babies in them, and that's their life. Are you kidding me? They're robbing themselves of true love in a real relationship. And I would like to know what the conversation is and how the conversation transpires between these women when 2 or 3 of them decide to get married to somebody else, and then they tell Nick Cannon, and he's like, wait, what? I thought you were my friend. How's the conversation gonna go? Are you gonna be okay and happy for these women if they decide to get married and move on, and they got 2 and 3 of your children? If they tell you, listen, I'm ready to move on. I met somebody, we've been dating for 3-4 years. He's asked to marry me, and I'm gonna marry him, and that's it. How's that conversation gonna go? Deep down on the inside, I don't think he's gonna settle with that and take that too kindly. I don't think he's gonna take it well at all. He can put on a fake front, but deep down internally, he's not gonna be able to process that. He's not, because if he truly was their friend, he wouldn't keep giving them babies and raw dogging them in them. And knowing that he can't be there on a more consistent basis for the moms and the children. And I'm sorry, parenting through a cell phone is not it. Just because you can call a kid and, have a Zoom call with them doesn't make you the best of parents when you're able to actually be there in person and to spend more time with them. And to be there for them when they go to school and parent-teacher conferences. And I mean, you know how many firsts he's about to miss out on? First steps, first words, first days of school, parent-teacher conferences, doctor's appointments, first time going to a dentist. He's about to miss out on a whole lot because he's not going to be there physically in human form with these kids. And a lot of times, that's all these kids really want. They just want to see you. They want to be able to put their arms around you. They want to be able to hug you. They want to be able to touch you. They want to be able to sit down and talk to you. That's what it comes down to. It's almost like, what is he doing? Is he the black version of the dude in Sisters Wives? That show, that dumb show. The guy was married to 4 sisters. Is this what this is about to become? Are we about to get a reality show of Nick and his 5 baby mamas all living together in a house? And they about to be the next Sisters Wives? Is this about to happen? Because that's the only way he's really going to be able to see his kids every day. Or on a more continuous basis. Otherwise, he's half of them he won't be able to see until it's either the summertime or Christmas when they're out of school. This is ridiculous, man.
I talked to Jen, girl, what you doing? Like, or what? It's
chilling to myself.
I'm an anti-authoritarian.
Not trying to be pregnant by you.
I don't feel like anybody can tell me how I should live my life. Okay. So I just operate.
But you're not thinking about how the kids want to live their lives.
And, you know,
okay, so how many girlfriends do you have?
Friends that are girls?
No, girlfriends.
Nah, I don't have any girlfriends. I feel like
that's the thing. Like, shameful, all, man. You can't commit to one person.
I'm a middle-aged man, Jimmy. Like, you still out here with girlfriends.
Well, you said you.
Who cares about the title? Who cares about the title? He understands the concept and he's dodging the question. That's the thing. He's dodging this question. He understands the concept. He knows what she's saying. It's someone in your life that you can call your partner, your mate, you know, a helpmate. You know, our baby mamas, all of them ain't your partners. I mean, clearly. They just booty calls seem like more so than anything else. They're not anything more than that. But he understands the concept of what she's asking. Who in your life can you say is truly your partner? You know, that's just more than just sexual. You're talking about intimacy, but you don't understand the concept of that because you clearly haven't grasped what it means to be intimate with someone. And I would think that if you want to be intimate with someone, you would want to put in the time to actually commit and be faithful to that one person. He's trying to get everything he needs out of 5 different women, as opposed to just understanding that there's no perfect person on earth. You're not going to get everything you need out of one person. But you have to learn how to be able to commit and give something of yourself as well, in order for you to have that one person in your life that does help to make you more complete and more whole. You trying to get 5 women to make you whole, and it's just stupid. And you keep leaving babies around all over the place. You're a moron. It's moronic. You're not thinking about these kids. There's nothing that he's saying that gives me any notion that he is actually thinking about the children and the type of parent, the type of father he's wanting to be, and to show them. Like I said, just because you can pay for a baby does not mean that you're meant to parent a baby.
On a wife.
Yeah, I can't. Well, my focus now is my children, okay. And then my
no, it's not. So you start making them. You can't spend time with them.
I've even never like I might entertain.
How you able to see your kids?
Or something like, and I might see you again in 4 months. Like I don't have that energy. I don't have that bandwidth.
Okay, so that means he sees these babies' mamas once every 4 months. That's pretty much what I'm, because there's no way he's just going out to see the kids only without the mothers. So that lets me know that these women are probably getting 3 times a year they're going to see him in person. This is going to show. This is showing what he does when it comes to how he conducts himself and the amount of time and energy he invests into these mothers. He's got 5 baby mamas. We're not counting Mariah, okay? He's got 6 baby mamas total, but Mariah's the ex-wife. We're not counting her because he sees those twins that he had with Mariah more regular than he probably sees all the other kids combined. And plus, he was married to her. He was, in a home with her. He was there when she was pregnant and doctor's appointments and when she gave birth and all these other things. So he was there more present in their lives than these other kids. You're chopping up time amongst essentially 10 other children. There's no way that they're getting the time that they actually need from both parents consistently. Seeing them once every 4 months is garbage. Garbage. You should not be okay with that. Ugh.
And then I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to my family if I'm out here looking for love.
Okay, so what about
disservice to them? How?
The mothers of your kids.
I love.
Just get to know one of the baby's mamas and be with her. I mean, my God, I can't believe these women are okay with that. That's what's even worse. The women are okay with this. The 5 baby mamas are like fine with him. Oh, he's just one of my baby daddies, and that's it. And we just hook up once every 4 months and make babies, and then that's it. And then he's gone. On to the other women. That's the highlight of their life. You 5 women have deduced your life's purposes to just being Nick Cannon's wombs that he puts babies in. That's it. That's all you guys have settled on being. Your children are going to grow up and be very angry and resentful of both of you, the mamas and Nick Cannon, because they did not get the time and attention they deserve. And they're going to be very upset about it. They're going to ask, Mommy, why couldn't somebody else be my daddy that's here with me all the time and that shows up for my baseball games or my ballet recitals or my piano recitals or, my basketball games or football games or soccer games or, rugby. Why couldn't I have a dad that coaches my little league team or that's, able to show up for my daddy-daughter, the daddy-daughter recitals at school? That's what these kids are going to be asking and wondering, because they're going to see everybody else's parents there more consistently in their lives, especially as they start school. First day of school. My kids, first day of school, me and their father still go to the kids, to the schools with them on their first day of school. We both try to be there for first days of school. And I have a 14 and 10-year-old. So, we just did orientations for their new schools a couple weeks ago. And we had to do both because we're their parents. We should be involved with their education. We should be involved with what's going on with them with school. The sad part is that for all the new students that starting the schools, all the parents weren't there. But, my kid's father and I, we're divorced, and we still came to their school orientations. We're still at parent-teacher conferences, or we at least get on the phone with these teachers. We still make sure that the kids are getting their work done. We communicate about that. These are things that you have to do as parents. There is no way in hell he's going to be able to do this for 12 kids total. He's not even going to be able to keep up with it. I guarantee you he can barely remember who was born on what day without looking at a cell phone on a calendar. He won't have to write that down or put it in his calendar in his phone. He won't remember none of that. And it's sad.
Damn.
You don't see like a future.
They're amazing.
You don't know.
Yeah,
you don't barely know him.
I'm over here. And if you want to see me, I'll be at the house.
Are you lonely?
Yes, he is lonely. He don't understand this. That's not an answer to the question. How can you be lonely? You got 12 kids? That has nothing to do with you being lonely. Your children, you're your children. But, this loneliness he has is, that's something he's got to resolve with him and a therapist. She's asking, are you lonely when it comes to, being with someone consistent in your life a special someone. I mean, honestly, if you really did dedicate all your time and energy into your children and your focus was on your kids, you wouldn't keep making more children, because you would start to see that the first 12 kids you have are lacking, are going to start seriously lacking time and energy with you. It's just going to be more and more difficult to even spend time with them or see them or even talk to them on the phone. If he had to talk to every single child every day on the phone, he would probably be able to spend 12 hours out of the 24 hours of his day just talking on the phone with his kids, if he were to give them at least 1 hour of telephone time every single day. So if he talks to his kids for 1 hour every day, he has 12 children. That is 12 hours of his day on the phone talking to his kids. Now, when is he going to sleep, eat, and work and run a business? If literally 12 hours of his day is committed to talking to each one of his children for 1 hour on the phone. And that's just the bare minimum that he can do as a parent. That's the bare minimum that he should be trying to do at this point. The bare minimum you can do to give them equal time individually is to at least be on the phone with them for 1 hour a day, every day. Especially for the kids that you cannot see. You have to get on a plane and go visit. Or you have to have them flown to you. It's not like you can just drive around the corner down the street to go see him and pick him up. Unless he's about to really pull a sister's wife scenario on us and throw that on a show somewhere. Because, like I said, I don't, I honestly don't see how else this is going to go.
There's like a different type of love.
What do you think I'm missing?
A condom.
When you say like...
A condom, contraceptives, a vasectomy. You're missing someone in your life that's going to tell you the truth and tell you the word no. Like, he needs to literally be told no at least once a day, because otherwise there's no restraint. And he's not thinking about the effect that this is going to have on these kids later on. They're going to watch this interview one day and see this and be like, oh, I can't believe this is pathetic. This is really pathetic. This is nothing but an ego trip. It's like, oh, I got 12 kids out here, but you can't even see them all in person. Not raising a kid through a phone. As much as I would just hate to hear that all he's doing is talking on the phone with them 1 hour a day, because they deserve to really see him and be with him in person and to have him around more consistently in their lives on a consistent basis. Give them something. And as much as it would pain me to just even hear that, all he's doing is just talking to them on the phone for an hour a day, that would be the bare minimum. And they probably won't even get that. That's my point. The only way he could really get more time with them is if they all come in one house together and live together as some community or some crap. And maybe he can get one big piece of land, buy 5 houses or 6 houses. He has the big house and then 5 other houses on the same land. They're in a gated area. Move the baby mamas into those 5 houses. And then when he comes home, then they all drive, or walk down to his house and drop the kids off there with him. And then that way he can see at least 10 of them every day. That's, because I don't think Mariah Carey will fall for that crap. But the rest of the baby mamas probably would. They probably would take a free home, paid for, on property with him in his house, and be willing to walk the kids to his house every day, when he gets home, so that he can see all his kids. That would be the only way that would work. To where it would be you giving them more time and attention. That's it.
Lonely.
I think Well, I
You're
don't
missing
know.
a vasectomy, sir.
I was like, I got everything I want. It's a blessing.
But like,
Yeah,
just
it's ridiculous.
Partnership and
That's not a blessing to have everything you want. Well, you got to have 5 women at the same time, and you're making babies with them. It's lust. It's not love. You're horny. You know, it's pathetic. Don't keep leaving babies behind. Stop having kids. You're gonna be 60 years old with kids still in elementary school. How fair is that? Then you drop dead, and then they don't get the chance to really be there with you and spend time with you, grow up with you, and none of that. I cut that nest and miss out. These kids, the more kids you have, the less time all the kids that are already born and alive get from you. Come on now. She saw. He needs a vasectomy or a condom, a bunch of condoms.
I never want to generalize the relationships that I have. Like, oh, these my ladies. These my harem.
They're your chicken heads.
Silly.
Baby mamas.
I have individual relationships with each person in my life.
Right.
And, you know.
Yeah, each individual relationship is still called a booty call. Booty calls. They're booty calls. They're once every 4 months booty calls.
I respect them on the level, and I respect their peace. I'm not private.
He would respect them on the level of what he would respect any other booty call that he just so happens to get pregnant. There you go.
Person, but I try to give everybody who wants to operate in privacy and keep their life personal. I love that. But then there's some people that be like, hey, let's go out and let's turn up.
What does that have to do with?
I'm with that too. I've done that on every level.
Intimacy,
I've had
a relationship.
Every type of relationship with a woman that a man could ever imagine. So now I'm so content in the space, and especially as a father.
What?
I just allow.
He hasn't had every type of relationship. You've had a booty call and a marriage. Many booty calls in marriages. In a marriage. Oh, okay. He's had a couple relationships that lasted a while. But if he wasn't faithful or committed to him, I don't even see how that counts. I just don't.
You gotta go with the flow. Like when we talk about
booty calls.
We talk about first you gotta get your spiritual bandwidth together on what matters, and then it's about flow.
Leave God out of that. God is like, please don't bring me in your mess. Don't bring me into your mess, sir.
Turned you down because of that outlook?
I don't chase people. I don't know. I ain't never been turned down before.
Exactly.
I mean,
but the thing is, the women not chasing you because they like you. They chasing you because of your money, and you know that, and that's why he's lonely. Because he knows these women don't even want me for me. They want me for my money. Pretty much it. I mean, they're still chicken heads for being okay with you raw dogging them and then leaving babies behind, and you're doing this to multiple women at the same time. I mean, these kids are not even at least 9-10 months apart. Some of these kids are literally 2 or 3 days apart by different women. Are you kidding me? They gonna catch something. I don't want to catch something.
Only reason why is because I know the energy, I know the flow. So
it's called a booty call.
There's probably a little bit of that, but but in a sense, I'm somewhat. It's hard to say because I don't want to,
They're booty calls.
It's the balance, it's the equanimity of your ego. I don't want to.
Oh please, stop! You can't use him. What's that big word he said that he don't know how to pronounce?
But it's I say I was 12 years old with Mariah Carey pictures on my wall, and that becomes my wife, and the fact that she's the coolest person I ever met. I get a lot of this, delightful disposition from her. Like, she's just always happy, always doing for others. Like, no matter what's happening in
somebody
life,
can say something nice about her. It seems like she just
don't allow negative energy into their space.
So
that's like when
he's an egotistical diva. So that I can see them being two peas in the pod because they both got big old egos, and Mariah Carey didn't grow up wealthy like that. He had comfort financially in his life. She got by on her talent, of course, looks and everything else, but they both got their egos on their shoulder. So, yeah, she might be real cool and sweet with him because they pretty much the same person. They one and the same. I mean, what's the difference?
How remarkable she was. Like, that woman's not human. She's a gift from God.
You kind of touched on your kids a little bit. And is there anyone who you dated in the past that you wish, like, I wish that we would have had a baby?
Well, who?
Everybody talks
with
about
trouble
that.
with who?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, especially. But I think, see, if I say this, I know it's going to go viral.
Okay.
But even when you think about it, like, when Christina Milian and I were doing Love Don't Cost a Thing.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I remember when I found out when I found out she was pregnant, did I have kids? I know, but I was.
Were you like, damn?
Yeah, I was like, dang, man.
That could have been me.
Yeah, ego.
Yeah, like,
Ego. It's so many people. It's his ego. Every woman he's been with, he thinks that he can have that accessibility to. He's never been told no. He doesn't have to chase any woman because these chicken heads are throwing it at him. He doesn't understand what it means to be rejected or any of that. But it also creates this space where he's absolutely lonely because none of it is genuine. He can't call these baby mamas his friend or a intimate mate or partner at all. They're booty calls and he just keeps getting pregnant. That's it. They're probably nice, sweet, and kind enough for him to want to tolerate more than once. But that's the extent of that. And Christina Milian would probably be pissed. If anybody get mad, it would be Hush. Probably like, leave my name out your mouth. I don't want to have your babies. Run around here like you crazy. That woman is married and happy. You don't sit here and be another notch on your belt. You better get on somewhere and kick rocks.
But I was so happy for her,
Right.
and her daughter's amazing, and I believe I think she has more kids.
Yeah,
now.
I think she has like 2.
Yeah, so, but I remember that we was kids in love early on, and so that, you talked about that, but, teach us on life.
Christina Milian dodged the bullet. Thank God for it.
It could still happen one day.
No, she married.
No.
I don't know
she
what
married.
the situation,
No.
but that was the homie.
No, she don't. No. Please do not go break up. Christina Milian, let me tell you something. Do not break up your happy life and home just to be another wound on Nick Cannon's belt. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Please, by all means, in the name of God, preserve your dignity and don't do it. Your wife and mother, you dodged the bullet on that one. If anybody get mad, it's her. She's probably like, what? I don't have his kids. He probably got her husband looking at her like, what the hell he talking about? What he just say? Yeah, he right. He probably pissed off a couple people. Christina Milian and Christina Milian's husband. He pissed them both off because he might, hopefully he has more confidence and, self-esteem where he knows that Nick Cannon's not really a threat to me. Because this dude he's over 40 and he's still sitting here like he's 18, 19 years old and just discovered that he's got pubes. He's discovered that he's going through puberty, like he's got hormones and he's got pubic hair. That's how he's acting. That's kind of his decision, thought process, and it is all driven by, hey, I got pubes.
And we definitely had our romantic conversations about what it would be like back then.
I love that. That's so cute.
And I think it's really
she
been
dodged the bullet.
This is the 20th year of Love Don't Cost a Thing. Because I think Drumline was 20 last year. So yeah, this year.
He's well over 40.
Yeah, so Love Don't Cost a Thing is 20 years this year. So maybe we do a remake.
I've never seen the whole movie.
And I've
never seen the whole movie.
Alvin and Paris will have some babies.
But you
No.
have to look into that. that. I think the fans may want to see that.
No.
Despite being one of the hardest working people in the entertainment industry and wearing several hats at all times, Nick Cannon has always made it clear that above all else, family is one of the most important things to him. And now he's opening up about how his upbringing and being a father of 12 has shaped his outlook on the world.
So was it weird for you to see like Kim and Mariah?
Yes.
I mean, North and Monroe are dancing. They,
Okay. I don't really want to hear anything about Kim and Mariah for any reason at all. Yeah. So I just, this is pretty much where I'm just gonna end it here because I don't.
At Ivy League,
we have to use like a family tree.
I've seen.
Yeah. Okay.
And all that. Yeah. So she had the name Onyx before. This is what it is. I'm gonna keep doing me. They're gonna keep.
All right, that's it. All right, so I think the last half of that interview is about that little G-Wiz nonsense about Kim and Mariah Carey and Kim Kardashian and whatever. But this is this is what I wanted to divulge on and just touch points on about, and that's just parenting is a selfless act, not selfish, selfless act. It's not about you, it's about the child. If you've got 12 kids spread all over the country and you're not able to easily be around your kids physically, they're not easily accessible to you, they're not in a home with you, you can see them, spend time with them every day, or even on a consistent, regular basis, you're doing them a disservice. 12 kids is just excessive, in my opinion. He can financially afford it, but he certainly cannot afford the time and attention and energy to be there in person, physically, with these kids. And it's hard for children to get the reassurance and the comfort that you love them and you care for them, and that they're special to you when you're not even around them. As I stated, these kids don't come out of the womb understanding, my dad is rich, my mama is stupid. They can't help who their dumb parents are. They don't understand concepts about, child support, or, if your mama need anything for you, she knows she can just call me. Like, no. Because then how long is that going to last if these women go off and go get married and go get somebody else? You're not going to take care of these women if they're married and they got another man in their lives. Because you're not going to sit here and take care of another grown man. So I would hope that he would still continue to financially support kids, even if he's just giving the moms money. He doesn't give any of them an allowance. And I know that because that actually was in an article where he doesn't give them an allowance. He, said that he basically if they ask for it, they get it. That's all well and good. But these children, they don't understand those concepts. They don't understand that as babies. When they're learning to walk and talk, when they see their moms come home and they run into the door to hug their moms, or, kids that see their dad come home and they want to run to their dad and hug their dad. He's ready to spend time with his kids because he's had a hard day at work and he's just wanting to be with his children. They're not going to be able to really witness and experience any of that, except once every 4 months. How fair is this to the kids to force them to live this type of life where they can only see their father once every 4 months? And then even less when they start school, which will be more so summertime and holidays. How fair is that to the kids? How is that parenting them? Not paying for them, parenting them. Like I said, if he took an hour today, and even if he just called them, he would spend 12 hours on the phone. And I don't even think all these kids are old enough for him to even talk on the phone to anyway. But at some point, They're going to get old enough to know the difference. They're going to get old enough to start asking questions. These kids are not stupid. Kids are smarter than what we think. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. And they're not dumb. They're going to start noticing their dad on TV or in a show or, out and about being, captured in photos because, he likes being in the spotlight because he's an egotistical piece of crap. And, and that's just because he doesn't really understand what he's doing to these kids. But he's an egotistical piece of crap. And he doesn't care about people catching him on camera and photos. And these kids are going to be like, why didn't he take me with him? Why is he not here with me? Why is he not spending time with me? Why didn't he come pick me up, take me to Disneyland? He took my sister and brother, but he didn't take me. How do you explain that to your children? And that's not just a question for Nick Cannon. That's a question for the moms as well. You're putting these kids in a situation where they're almost forced. Some of these kids are going to be forced to grow up not really having a full-time father figure in their lives. And for what? Oh, because he pays your bills every month. That's not parenting. You're paying for children. You're being paid for children. If something were to happen to all these mothers, Nick Cannon, you got 5 mamas. 6 if you include Mariah Carey. If all of them just cease to exist off the face of the planet and all 12 kids have to come with you, how are you going to even adjust to that type of life where you're literally a single father raising 12 kids by yourself? Can you even comprehend something like that happening to you if you had to take on full-time fatherhood, full-time parenting? Would you be able to even do that mentally and emotionally? Because half these kids you barely know. Would you be able to really do that? You've got to stop. You're not parenting these children. You're so busy getting people pregnant and they're giving birth that nobody's really committing the time to the kids that are already here. And then you can only give but so many hours of your day to them, especially when they're not all within reach. Kids across the country, from the north to the southeast to the west coast, they're all over the place. Midwest, they're all over the place. And parenting through a cell phone ain't it. I don't even want to think that, I don't want nobody to think that I'm recommending that. I just gave that as an example to show that half his day could literally be spent on the phone talking to each child for an hour at a time. These kids deserve that individual attention, one-on-one time. I'm sure he's never thought about, I want to spend time with each kid by themselves without the other kids being there, because each of these children deserve my individual time and attention with me, and do something with each of my kids individually so they don't feel left out, so they don't feel like their dad doesn't care about them. But at some point, they're going to start feeling it when they're going to start acting out. Some of these kids act out because they're lacking the time and attention and love from their parents in the home. I'm not going to say it's an excuse, because I personally, I know that it's not, my dad wasn't in the home with me every day. I have a father figure, I have a dad. He wasn't in the home with me every day, but I didn't walk around here, like I've lost my mind because of it. Some people actually don't know how to handle and cope with not having both parents in the home. That's the first experience of rejection that kids have when they're missing a parent in the home. If they're missing the father in the home, that leadership and that guidance, especially if you're talking about little boys being raised by a man and being taught how to be a man to the best of father's ability to teach them and raise their sons. They're missing that, and internally they don't know how to process that. And then some of these boys grow up and because they never got the parenting they needed from their own father, it does mess with their self-esteem, with their confidence, because they feel like, okay, if my dad rejected me, they may not be able to cope with rejection in life. They may not be able to cope with the realities of, the experiences that life teaches you, between rejections and between, when things just don't go the way they wanted to go or plan for it. They may not know how to process, certain level of failure. There are just times in our lives where we all as human beings miss the mark and things just don't go the way we planned. I mean, I'm a perfect example of that. I did not anticipate being unemployed literally around the same time this year as I was last year. My birthday is tomorrow. And I was unemployed last year, 2 days before my birthday. And it's like, good Lord. But sometimes that strength is developed in your weakest moments and knowing how to cope with that. Yes, it can be depressing. And I even put out a video about it. But I recognize that. I recognize that depression sometimes can sink in. And it's something I have to tackle. If these kids are not really taught that by their parents, taught that from the people in their lives that they rely on and depend on to care for them growing up, it's harder for them to really understand that when they become adults and become independent and on their own. It is vital and crucial that we as parents put the time and energy that we need to put into our children and invest that time and energy with them. Give them all that they can, that they deserve, so that when they grow up and become older, they equipped and they've at least been taught how to handle certain things in life. We can't predict every hardship that our kids are going to experience, but we can at least teach them. Teach them from our life experiences as parents, and teach them what could come up and what could happen. And to reassure them that, hey, I'm always going to be here for you. If you need me, I'm right here. Call me. Come see me. I'll come see you. I'm always in your corner. I'm always by your side. If the kids never see that and experience that growing up, all it does is just causes that resentment to grow and to fester in a place where love and support should be. If you're there for your children consistently throughout their childhood, as they become older, they understand that and they know that and they can depend on you and rely on you. But if you're only seeing them once every 4 months and you have the means to be able to actually see them more often, they're going to start asking questions. They're going to start getting a little resentful. They're going to start acting out that anger and that pain and that frustration. And like I said, God forbid they see this man, in a picture or something with 2 or 3 of his kids. And then the other ones that's not with him start asking why he didn't come get me. Why didn't he pick me up? Why didn't he spend time with me? Does he not love me? Does he not care for me? You can only tell someone so much that you love them. You got to show them. At some point, you got to prove that. And these kids, they want that human-to-human contact. They need that, especially the babies, the infants. They need that human-to-human contact. They're not even going to know who he is if he only sees them once every 4 months. Every time you see your baby, they're 4 months older, and you just missed out on a whole lot. And it's like, why? You spread yourself so thin with having all these kids that you know that it's going to be impossible to spend with them, especially knowing that he grew up in a home with both parents. It's selfish, Nick Cannon. You're not parenting. You're procreating. You're paying for children. But this isn't parenting. I don't care if you want to keep sleeping with chicken heads all day, because I never cared about him like that as far as his love life and dating and none of that, or what he calls a love life. I've never cared about any of that. Nick Cannon doesn't pay my bills, thank God. So at the end of the day, That's irrelevant to me. It's the children that's being affected by this. And these kids grow up, and we wonder why these kids go out and they start acting out on social media and then even do more worse things, because there's some negative effect that they've experienced in the home, that lack of parenting, that lack of love and care, that they deserve and that they need in their life, to be whole and to be more confident, and to be reassured that they're special and loved by their parents. They're lacking that, and they're missing out on that. Like I said, I was going to be real in this video. I'm not here to pamper Nick Cannon. I don't really give a crap about how he feels. If he would ever see this, or any of his chicken heads, or Mariah, or Kim Kardashian, I don't really care. At the end of the day, sometimes when you get these celebrities, man, they forget about, just the real raw truth. He has a therapist that probably still tell him everything he wants to hear, but no one is telling him what he needs to know. And he's certainly not going to care about anything I have to say, but hopefully someone can tell him, think about what these children are going to grow up and start asking and start saying if you're not going to be there for them. Think about it from that perspective. Think about if you had to grow up without your father in the home and you only saw him once every 4 months. Think about that. Someone needs to pose that question to him. Put yourself in your children's shoes. How would you feel growing up only seeing your dad once every 4 months because there's 10 other siblings out there, 11 other siblings out there that you have that he had to spend time with over spending time with you? Some of which he probably spent more time with in their life than he will ever spend with you in your life. How would you feel? So hopefully someone can ask him that. Or send my video and ask it, and I'll ask it. Play this in part and ask him that. Put yourself in your kid's shoes. How would you feel? This is Lady Luck. And I encourage you guys to, I didn't watch the entire video here and the reaction. So if you all want to see the whole video, you can Google it. It's out there on the internet. It didn't go as viral as he thought it would, but I had already talked about this in my PSA Time with Lady Auntie. It's one of the creative, content videos that I've done on my channel. So you guys can check that out as well. But don't have children you can't afford. Not just financially, but also with time and attention. And somebody tell Nick Cannon to get a damn vasectomy and use some condoms and cut this nonsense out, because these kids' lives are on the line, and they're the ones that's being affected the most by him spreading himself thin and all over the U.S. and all over these chicken heads. And he's not going to ever be able to really invest time into all these kids equally like that, like I said, unless they all co-op and live together. So, and that will be interesting for a show that I will never watch. All right. You guys continue to stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until the next video.